The Discovery, the research station, hung in the darkness like a forgotten jewel, its lights barely visible against the infinite canvas of stars. Dr. Sienna Vex pressed her palm against the cold observation window, watching ice crystals form in the patterns her breath created. 3 years. 3 years since anyone had visited this remote outpost on the edge of mapped space. Behind her, Lieutenant Marcus Kane cleared his throat. "Doctor, the transport leaves in 6 hours. Whatever you came here to find, I suggest you find it quickly." Sienna didn't turn around. "My brother disappeared near this sector, Lieutenant. The last transmission mentioned ruins, structures that predated the Galactic Council by millennia." Marcus shifted his weight, uncomfortable. He'd read her file on the journey here. Brilliant scientist, driven by grief, chasing ghosts across the void. Dr. Vex, Sienna. She finally turned to face him, and something in her dark eyes made him pause. Not madness, but determination that bordered on obsession. "If you're going to babysit me for the next 6 hours, at least call me Sienna." The corner of his mouth twitched. "Fair enough, Marcus." They descended into the station's lower levels where ancient excavation equipment lay dormant. Sienna's scanner chirped as they approached a sealed chamber. Her hands trembled slightly as she entered the access code she'd spent months decrypting. The door hissed open, revealing a chamber carved from asteroid rock. In its center stood a pillar of crystalline material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Etched into its surface were symbols, human symbols, but far older than any known civilization. "Is that what I think it is?" Marcus stepped closer, his military training warring with curiosity. "A beacon." Sienna's voice barely rose above a whisper. "The old Terran Empire built these as warning systems. This one has been dormant for over 2,000 years. She approached the pillar, her fingers hovering over the symbols. In that moment, she felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Whatever her brother had discovered, whatever had drawn him to this forsaken place, it was connected to this artifact. Marcus caught her wrist gently. "Maybe we should wait. Bring in a full team, proper equipment. We don't have time." Sienna met his gaze, and he saw something there that made his chest tighten. Vulnerability hidden beneath layers of academic confidence. "If I'm right about what this is, then every day we wait is a day we risk losing what it knows." He released her wrist but didn't step back. They were close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from him in the cold chamber. For a moment, neither moved. Then Sienna turned back to the pillar and pressed her palm against a specific sequence of symbols. The crystal flared to life, bathing them both in azure light. A deep thrumming filled the chamber, resonating in their bones. "What have you done?" Marcus breathed. The beacon's light pulsed, sending a signal out into the void. Across the galaxy, on 100 different worlds, ancient receivers awakened. In the council chambers of the Salketh Dominion, Counselor Jarn's scales rippled with sudden dread as alarms began to wail, and somewhere in the black between stars, something vast and terrible turned its attention toward humanity's forgotten outpost. Sienna staggered, and Marcus caught her. "I activated it," she whispered against his shoulder, suddenly aware of how solid he felt, how safe. "I activated humanity's last warning." On the pillar's surface, new words began to form in light. "We are still here." Marcus looked down at Sienna, then at the beacon, then at the darkness beyond the station windows. "What were your people warning about?" Before she could answer, the station's emergency klaxons erupted. A voice crackled over the intercom, the station's automated defense system detecting multiple jump signatures, hundreds of them. Marcus pulled Sienna toward the exit, but she resisted, her eyes locked on the beacon. "They're coming," she said. "But I don't know if they're coming to help us or destroy us." "Who?" Marcus demanded. Sienna's expression was haunted. "Everyone who remembers what humanity used to be." The beacon pulsed again, stronger now, and somewhere in the darkness, ancient engines roared to life after centuries of silence. The galaxy had been silent for so long. Now the silence was breaking, and neither human nor alien knew what would emerge from the depths of that long-forgotten night. Marcus squeezed Sienna's hand as they ran through the corridor. "Whatever happens next, we face it together." She squeezed back, finding unexpected comfort in his presence. Behind them, the beacon sang its song into the void, a melody of warning and promise that would reshape the fate of countless worlds. The approach captain Thessa Morin stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her fingers drumming against the command console in a rhythm that betrayed her anxiety. The view screen showed a sea of jump signatures, ships emerging from faster-than-light travel like predators circling prey. "Captain, we're receiving hails from at least 40 different vessels," her communications officer reported. "Most are demanding we power down and surrender the beacon." Thessa's jaw tightened. "Tell them we're a civilian research vessel under Article 7 of the... They don't care about articles, Thess." The voice came from behind her, and she didn't need to turn to know who it was. Devon Cross emerged from the engineering deck, wiping grease from his hands. 3 years since she'd seen him last, and he still had that infuriating ability to appear exactly when she didn't want him. "What are you doing on my bridge, Cross?" "Your ship responded to the distress beacon from the research station." "Sienna's my responsibility." He moved closer. And Thessa caught the scent of engine oil and something distinctly him, a memory she'd tried hard to bury. "Sienna Vex is no one's responsibility but her own," Thessa replied, but her voice softened slightly. "Though I suppose if anyone can decode what she's found, it's you." Their eyes met, and for a moment the bridge crew might as well have disappeared. Devon had been more than just her engineer once. He'd been the reason she'd almost given up captaining to settle on New Havana, but duty had called them both in different directions. "Transport shuttle approaching, Captain," the tactical officer interrupted. "It's from the research station. 2 signatures aboard." "Bring them in," Thessa ordered, breaking eye contact with Devon, "and prepare to jump the moment they're aboard. We're not waiting around to see which of these fleets fires first." In the docking bay, Sienna stumbled off the shuttle with Marcus close behind. She clutched a data crystal to her chest like it contained the secrets of the universe. Perhaps it did. Devon was there before she could take 3 steps, pulling her into an embrace that made Marcus's expression tighten. "Sienna, what did you do?" "What I had to." She pulled back, searching his face. "The beacon wasn't just a warning, Dev. It was a call home." "Home to what?" Before she could answer, the ship lurched violently. Alarms screamed as weapons fire raked across their shields. "Evasive maneuvers!" Thessa's voice carried across the intercom. "All hands, battle stations!" They ran together toward the bridge, Marcus taking point with his sidearm drawn, Devon supporting Sienna as she clutched her injured side from the rough landing. When they burst onto the bridge, chaos greeted them. The view screen showed a massive insectoid dreadnought, Admiral Kryn's flagship, according to the identification markers. Its hull bristled with weapons, and smaller fighters swarmed around it like angry hornets. "They're targeting our engines," Thessa reported, her hands flying across controls. "They want us dead in the water." Sienna pushed forward, ignoring the pain. "Open a channel." "Let me talk to them." "That's suicide," Marcus objected, moving to her side. Over the past hours, something had shifted between them, a connection forged in crisis. "It's the only option." Sienna placed her hand over his on the console. "Trust me." Marcus held her gaze, then nodded slowly. Thessa opened the channel. Admiral Kryn's face filled the screen, a nightmarish visage of compound eyes and mandibles, yet somehow conveying cold intelligence. When he spoke, his voice buzzed with harmonics that made human teeth ache. "The human scientist who awakened the forbidden signal. You have committed an act of war against the Galactic Council." "I committed an act of survival," Sienna replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "That beacon was a warning about something far worse than humanity. Something that nearly destroyed all life in this galaxy once before." Kryn's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Human lies. Your species was eliminated because you were the threat. The beacon proves your kind survived, hidden, waiting to strike." "You're wrong," Devon interjected, moving beside Sienna. His hand found hers, their fingers intertwining naturally. "We've analyzed the data. The beacon wasn't calling human fleets. It was warning about the Void Scourge, an extra-dimensional threat that the old Terran Empire fought to contain." "Lies," Kryn hissed. "You have 60 seconds to surrender the beacon data, or we will destroy your ship and recover it from the debris." Thessa cut the channel. "Well, that went well." "We need to jump," Marcus urged. "Now. Jump where?" Thessa turned to Sienna. "Every major system will be locked down. The moment we emerge, they'll be waiting." Sienna's eyes lit up. "Not every system. The beacon's data included coordinates, a rendezvous point, somewhere the old Empire designated as a fallback position." "Could be a trap," Marcus warned, though his hand remained on Sienna's shoulder, protective and possessive in a way that surprised him. It's our only shot, Devon agreed, looking at Thessa. Their shared glance held years of history and unspoken words. Captain? Thessa made her decision. Navigation, plot a jump to Dr. Vex's coordinates. Engineering, give me everything you've got. Weapons, fire a full spread of chaff missiles. Let's give them something to chase besides us. The ship shuddered as more weapons fire struck their shields. The energy barriers were failing, showing angry red across Thessa's displays. Jump in 30 seconds, navigation reported. Kryn's fleet closed in, a tightening noose of alien firepower. On the view screen, more ships appeared. Other species, other empires, all converging on the Resolute with singular purpose. Sienna watched them come. Devon's hand in hers, Marcus's presence solid at her back. She thought of her brother, lost somewhere in this vast darkness. Had he seen these same coordinates? Had he tried to reach this same destination? Jump in 10 seconds. The ship groaned under the assault. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 7. Casualties mounting. 5 seconds. Thessa locked eyes with Devon across the bridge. If this was the end, at least they'd face it together. Jump. Reality twisted. The stars stretched into impossible lines, and the Resolute vanished into the space between spaces, carrying its precious cargo toward a destination that existed in no known charts. Behind them, Admiral Kryn watched the jump signature dissipate, his mandibles ground together in frustration. Admiral, his tactical officer buzzed, should we pursue? Kryn studied the readings, noting the strange quantum signature the human ship had left behind. Something about it felt wrong, ancient and terrible. No, he decided, surprising his crew. Let them go, but mark these coordinates. Whatever they've found, we will learn of it soon enough. In the command chamber of the Galactic Council, Counselor Jarn received the report with growing dread. The humans had escaped, carrying knowledge that should have remained buried. He touched the ancient scar on his chest, a reminder of the last time humanity had made its presence known. The galaxy remembered, and what the galaxy remembered it feared. The revelation. The Resolute emerged from jump space near a nebula that appeared on no star charts. Swirling clouds of purple and crimson gas surrounded an ancient structure, a space station so massive it could have housed 1 million souls. Mother of stars, Thessa breathed. That's old Terran architecture. It's been here for at least 2,000 years. Sienna's scanner came alive with data, streams of information that made her hands shake with excitement. It's still powered. Minimal life support, but functional. Dev, this is it. This is where my brother's trail led. Devon squeezed her hand. They'd spent the jump in the engineering bay, running analysis on the beacon's data, their bodies pressed close in the confined space. Old feelings had resurfaced, the way his smile made her heart race, how naturally they worked together, finishing each other's thoughts. Then we go in, Marcus said, though his military instincts screamed caution. He'd been watching Sienna and Devon together, noting their easy intimacy, and fought against an unexpected jealousy. But carefully, agreed. Thessa ordered a security team assembled. Cross, you're with me. Dr. Vex, you'll need— I'm going, Sienna interrupted. This is my discovery. Our discovery, Devon corrected gently, and the smile she gave him held promises of conversations yet to come. The boarding party approached the station via shuttle. As they docked, ancient systems flickered to life, recognizing human biosignatures. Doors unsealed with hisses of escaping atmosphere. Lights activated in sequence, illuminating corridors that hadn't seen life in centuries. It's beautiful, Sienna whispered, running her fingers along walls etched with historical records. Images of Earth before its fall, monuments to heroes long forgotten, and warnings, always warnings, about the darkness beyond the galactic rim. They descended deeper into the station, following the beacon's signal. Marcus kept his weapon ready, alert for any threat. Devon stayed close to Sienna, his engineering tools scanning for structural weaknesses. Thessa led from the front, her captain's instincts guiding them through the labyrinth. In the central chamber, they found it, a holographic archive. Waiting patiently for someone to activate it, Sienna approached slowly, reverently. She placed her palm on the control panel, and the archive blazed to life. A figure appeared, a woman in the uniform of the old Terran Empire, her face marked by the weight of terrible knowledge. If you're seeing this, the recording began, Then the beacon has been activated. Then the galaxy faces the void scourge once more. The hologram shifted, showing images that made even Marcus pale, creatures that seemed to exist partially outside normal space, ships that dissolved matter with a touch, entire star systems consumed by spreading darkness. 2,000 years ago, humanity made first contact with the scourge. We fought. We lost entire fleets, whole colonies. In desperation, we created weapons, terrible weapons that turned planets to ash. The galaxy blamed us for the destruction, never knowing we were holding back something far worse. Devon's grip on Sienna's hand tightened. The old empire didn't destroy itself. It sacrificed itself, the hologram continued. We drove the scourge back, but we couldn't destroy it. The best we could do was seal the dimensional rifts, contain it beyond the galactic barrier. But those seals were never meant to last forever. This beacon is set to activate when the seals begin to fail. Sienna felt tears streaming down her face. Her brother had known. He'd discovered this truth and tried to warn everyone. How long do we have? Months, perhaps less. The scourge is patient, but it never forgets. It will return, and this time, humanity isn't strong enough to stop it alone. The recording flickered, and the woman's expression softened. To whoever finds this, don't let our sacrifice be in vain. Unite the galaxy. Make them understand. The old wars, the old hatreds, they mean nothing in the face of extinction. The hologram faded, leaving them in silence. Marcus spoke first. The council will never believe this. They think humanity is the threat. Then we make them believe, Thessa said firmly. She looked at her crew, at Devon, whom she'd once loved. At Sienna, brilliant and brave. At Marcus, dutiful yet compassionate. We have evidence now. Real data. It won't be enough, Devon argued. We need to show them. Prove that the seals are failing. Sienna pulled up the beacon data on her portable terminal. The archive included coordinates for the nearest seal point. It's in the Obsidian Reach, deep in council-controlled space. That's suicide, Marcus protested, moving closer to her. Kryn's fleet will be hunting us. The moment we enter council space, we're dead. Then we don't go alone. Thessa activated her comm. Resolute. Prepare to send encrypted messages to every independent ship captain I know. If humanity is going to save the galaxy, we need allies. Devon stepped away from Sienna, moving to Thessa's side. Their eyes met, old history and new purpose intertwining. I never stopped thinking about you, he said quietly. About what we could have been. Thessa's mask of command cracked slightly. We chose our paths, Dev. Maybe we chose wrong. Before she could respond, the station shuddered. Alarms wailed. Sienna's scanner erupted with warnings. Something's coming through the dimensional barrier, she reported, her voice tight with fear. The seals are failing faster than the archive predicted. On their scanners, reality itself began to tear. Through the rift, they glimpsed something that defied description. Darkness given form and hunger. The void scourge, testing its prison, reaching out with tendrils that dissolved matter and twisted space. Marcus pulled Sienna away from the viewport. We need to leave, now! They ran back through the station, the structure groaning around them as dimensional stress tore at its ancient framework. Devon helped Thessa navigate the collapsing corridors. Marcus carried equipment while Sienna clutched the data crystals. The shuttle barely made it back to the Resolute before the station began breaking apart. As they jumped away, they watched the ancient structure, humanity's last monument to its sacrifice, crumble into the hungry void. Aboard the Resolute, Sienna collapsed into Devon's arms, exhausted and terrified. He held her close, stroking her hair. We'll stop it, he promised. Together. She looked up at him, seeing the determination in his eyes, and kissed him, desperate and fierce, a reminder that they were alive. That love still mattered even at the end of everything. Marcus turned away, giving them privacy, but Thessa caught his arm. Lieutenant, I need soldiers like you. Will you stay with us? Help us convince the council? Marcus thought of Sienna, of the connection they'd built in crisis. Thought of duty and honor and the weight of responsibility. I'll stay, he decided. Someone needs to keep you all alive, Thessa smiled grimly. Then welcome to the most important mission humanity has ever undertaken. Outside the ship, the rift stabilized, then sealed. But all of them knew the truth now. The Void Scourge was waking. The seals were failing, and the galaxy, divided, fearful, and unprepared, had only months to unite or perish. The confrontation. The council chamber on Valcross Prime was a marvel of alien architecture, a dome of living crystal that pulsed with bioluminescent light. Representatives from 100 species filled the tiered seats, their voices raised in argument and accusation. Admiral Kryn stood at the central podium, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. The humans have violated the Treaty of Silent Stars. They activated a forbidden beacon, infiltrated restricted space, and now they spread lies about ancient threats to distract from their own crimes. In the observation gallery, Marcus watched with barely contained fury. Beside him, Sienna gripped the railing, her knuckles white. Devon stood at her other side, his hand on her lower back, a touch of comfort and solidarity. "This is a farce," Sienna muttered. "They won't even let us present our evidence." "They're afraid," Devon replied. "Fear makes people irrational." Below, Ambassador Quellen, an avian diplomat whose species claimed to have witnessed the original Void Wars, rose on ancient wings. His voice carried the weight of millennia. "The honored admiral speaks of treaties and violations, but I asked the council to remember history. The humans did not vanish by choice. They were hunted, driven to extinction because we feared their weapons. Yet those weapons were forged to protect us all." "Lies," a reptilian counselor, Jarn of the Salketh, hissed from his seat. "Humanity was a plague. They burned worlds to stop the scourge from consuming them." Quillen's feathers ruffled with agitation. "I was there, counselor. I saw the rifts open. I watched the darkness take entire systems before humanity sealed them away." The chamber erupted in chaos. Half the council shouted Quellen down as a senile fool. The other half demanded to hear the human evidence. High Chancellor Orvath, a being with multiple limbs and eyes that saw into spectra beyond human perception, raised a hand for silence. "Enough. If the humans have evidence of this alleged threat, let them present it." Marcus felt Sienna tense. "That's our cue." They descended to the main floor, flanked by Thessa and a security detail. Devon carried the data crystals containing the archive's recordings. As they approached the central podium, Marcus saw Kryn's compound eyes fixed on them with predatory focus. "Honored Chancellor," Sienna began, her voice steady despite her hammering heart. "What I'm about to show you is the truth humanity died to protect." She activated the holographic display. The ancient warning played for all to see. Images of the Void Scourge. Testimony of the old Terran Empire's sacrifice. And worst of all, current sensor data showing the dimensional seals failing. The chamber fell silent. Even the most hostile counselors couldn't deny what they were seeing. "This is fabricated," Kryn finally said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Human propaganda. It's real." Commander Yaris Cade entered the chamber, his uniform bearing the insignia of the Human Defense Coordinate, a military organization most believed long extinct. Behind him marched a dozen soldiers, each bearing the scars of 1,000 battles. "And we're running out of time." Marcus recognized Cade from classified briefings, a legend among human military circles, supposedly killed in the last Great Purge. His presence here meant everything had changed. Cade approached the podium, and even Admiral Kryn stepped aside. "For 2,000 years, my people have hidden in the shadows, maintaining the dimensional seals, fighting incursions the galaxy never knew about. But the seals are failing. In 6 weeks, maybe less, the barriers will collapse. The Void Scourge will return in force." He activated a star chart. Red markers indicated breach points across the galactic rim. "These systems will be the first to fall. Within a month, the Scourge will consume the outer territories. Within 3, it will reach the Council worlds. Within 6, the galaxy will be empty, nothing but void-touched husks drifting in dead space." Thessa stepped forward. "I've been monitoring deep space communications. Independent captains are already reporting anomalies. Ships disappearing near the rim. Colonies going dark. It's already beginning." High Chancellor Orvath's multiple eyes focused on each speaker in turn. "If what you say is true, what do you propose?" "Unity," Sienna said simply. She moved to stand beside Cade, Devon at her other side. The old Empire had weapons, knowledge, technology designed to fight the Scourge. But they're scattered across the galaxy, hidden in places only we know. We need access to those sites. We need the Council's fleets. We need cooperation. You ask us to trust humanity?" Jarn stood, his scales flushed with anger. "To arm the species we drove to extinction? No." Marcus spoke for the first time, his voice carrying the weight of military authority. "She's asking you to survive. Pride and fear are luxuries we can't afford. Kryn's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Despite his aggression, he was no fool. Show me proof. Take me to one of these breach points. Let me see this scourge with my own eyes. That can be arranged, Cade replied. But understand, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The void changes those who witness it. Then I will change. Kryn looked at Sienna, and something like respect flickered in his alien eyes. But I will also know the truth. The council deliberated for hours. Sienna, Devon, and Marcus waited in an antechamber, exhaustion weighing on them. Thessa had returned to her ship to prepare for whatever came next. Do you think they'll agree? Sienna asked, leaning against Devon. His arm wrapped around her naturally, and she let herself draw strength from his presence. They don't have a choice, Marcus replied. He sat across from them, watching the way Devon held Sienna, the way she fit against him. He'd built his life on duty and service, but seeing them together stirred something he'd long suppressed, the desire for connection, for something beyond orders and combat. Devon met his gaze over Sienna's head. Thank you. For protecting her at the research station. For standing with us. Marcus nodded slowly. She's worth protecting. The chamber doors opened. High Chancellor Orvath emerged, his expression unreadable. The Council has decided. We will investigate these claims. Admiral Kryn will lead a joint fleet to the nearest breach point. Human representatives will accompany him. If you're telling the truth, we will mobilize every resource we have. If you're lying, we're not, Sienna assured him. Orvath studied her with ancient eyes. For all our sakes, I hope you're right. Because if the Void Scourge is real, then the galaxy faces its last war. And this time, there may be no survivors to remember our names. That night, aboard the Resolute, Sienna stood at the observation window, watching ships gather for the expedition. Devon found her there, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. Scared? He asked. Terrified, she admitted. What if we can't stop it? What if humanity's sacrifice was for nothing? He turned her to face him, his hands cupping her face gently. Then we'll face the end together. But I don't believe it ends here. Your brother didn't die searching for this truth so we could give up now. She kissed him then, slowly, deeply, pouring all her fear and hope and love into that contact. When they finally broke apart, she rested her forehead against his. Stay with me tonight, she whispered. I don't want to be alone. Never again, he promised, and led her away from the window, away from the gathering darkness, toward whatever warmth they could find in each other before the final battle began. The Unity. The joint fleet emerged near the breach point in the Obsidian Reach, 50 ships representing 24 species, unified for the first time in recorded history. At the fleet's center flew the Resolute, with Admiral Kryn's Dreadnought close alongside. The unlikely alliance held together by necessity and desperate hope. On the Resolute's bridge, Sienna monitored the dimensional readings while Devon worked to calibrate the sensors for detecting void energy. Marcus stood at tactical, coordinating with Kryn's weapons officers. Thessa commanded from her captain's chair, looking every inch the warrior she'd been trained to be. Readings are off the charts, Sienna reported, her voice tight. The dimensional membrane is paper-thin here. One more incursion and it'll tear completely. Commander Cade appeared on the view screen, transmitting from his stealth vessel. Dr. Vex is correct. We estimate 72 hours before total collapse. If we're going to seal this breach, we need to do it now. What do you need? Kryn asked. Despite his initial hostility, the Admiral had proven himself willing to listen, to adapt. Seeing was believing, and the evidence of dimensional stress was undeniable. The old Empire built stabilization arrays, massive structures designed to reinforce the barriers. There's one in this system on the 4th moon of Obsidian Prime, but it's been dormant for 2 millennia. We need to reactivate it, and that requires human DNA coding. All eyes turned to Sienna, Devon, and Marcus, the only full-blooded humans on the fleet besides Cade's hidden soldiers. I'll go, Sienna said immediately. We'll go, Devon corrected, taking her hand. You're not facing this alone. Marcus nodded. A security team should accompany you. The moon's surface conditions are hostile. Thessa stood. Then let's move. Every second we waste is another second closer to catastrophe. The landing party descended through Obsidian Prime's toxic atmosphere, their shuttle buffeted by electromagnetic storms. The moon's surface was a wasteland of black glass and crystal, formations that hummed with residual energy. The stabilization array rose from the landscape like a monument to hubris, a tower of impossible geometry that hurt to look at directly. Its surface crawled with equations made manifest, mathematics given physical form. It's magnificent, Sienna breathed, her scientific curiosity momentarily overriding her fear. It's a weapon, Cade said, joining them on the surface. His expression was grim. One that requires a sacrifice to activate. Devon's hand tightened on Sienna's. What kind of sacrifice? The array needs a living consciousness to guide it, to interface with the dimensional mathematics. Whoever links with it will become part of the barrier, aware, conscious, but unable to leave. They'll spend eternity holding back the dark. Silence fell over the group. Sienna felt her heart sink. This was what her brother had discovered. This was why he'd never come home. I'll do it, Marcus said suddenly. I've spent my life in service. This is just the final order. No, Sienna gripped his arm. You have family, Marcus. People waiting for you. So do you, he replied gently. You have Devon. You have a life ahead of you. Let me do this. Before anyone could argue further, the sky tore open. Reality shredded like paper, and through the breach poured the void scourge. Creatures that defied description writhed against the stars. Ships that existed in states of quantum uncertainty phased into normal space. And behind it all, a presence, vast and ancient and hungry, pressed against the dimensional walls. They're here. Thessa's voice crackled over the comm. The fleet is engaging, but our weapons are barely slowing them down. Cade grabbed Sienna. The array now! We're out of time! They ran to the tower's base, where an interface panel glowed with invitation. Sienna placed her palm against it, feeling the technology recognize her genetic markers, ready to accept her consciousness. Devon pulled her back. There has to be another way. There isn't. Tears streamed down her face. This is what humanity died for. To give the galaxy time. I can't turn away from that. Then I'm coming with you. Devon placed his hand beside hers on the panel. We'll hold the barrier together. No! Sienna tried to push him away, but he was stronger, holding firm. Marcus joined them, adding his palm to the interface. 3 minds are stronger than one. If we're doing this, we do it together. The array activated. Energy surged through their bodies, agonizing, transcendent, transformative. Their consciousness expanded, stretching across dimensions, perceiving reality in ways no organic mind was meant to comprehend. Sienna felt herself dissolving and reforming simultaneously. She was still herself, but also part of something greater. She felt Devon's presence beside her, their minds intertwining more intimately than any physical touch could achieve. And Marcus, solid and dutiful, forming the foundation that held them steady. Together, they reached into the dimensional fabric and pulled, weaving reality back together, forcing the breach to seal. The void scourge howled in frustration, its creatures dissolving as the barrier reformed, its ships phasing back into their native darkness. Above them, the fleet watched in awe as the rift closed. Golden light poured from the stabilization array, spreading across space like dawn breaking over endless night. In the dimensional space between spaces, Sienna existed in a state beyond physical form. She could feel the scourge pressing against the barrier, patient and eternal, but she also felt Devon and Marcus with her, their strength, their love, their sacrifice. Is this death? She wondered. No, Devon's thought presence replied. It's purpose. We're the guardians now. How long can we hold? Marcus asked. Long enough, Sienna assured them. Through their dimensional awareness, they could see the galaxy spreading out before them, see the council fleets returning home, see Thessa on the Resolute, tears streaming down her face as she saluted the moon below, see Kryn's Dreadnought broadcasting the truth to every corner of civilization.